right, guys, if you've been watching the show, you know I talk a lot about Obama's drone wars, kill list, and other covert tactics being used to combat terrorism. Well, if those aren't scary enough, let me present to you, dun dun dun, the disposition matrix. Well, what the hell is that? Well, according to the Washington Post, over the last 2 years, the Obama administration has been secretly working on a blueprint of a targeted assassination program for the next generation.
The development of the disposition matrix is part of a series of moves by the administration to embed counterterrorism tools into U.S. policy for the long haul.
For the long haul, huh? Yep, these policies aren't going away anytime soon. Let me break down a couple of things the program actually does. The disposition matrix goes far beyond Obama's current kill list. After all, drones aren't operating everywhere in the world. So this is a program that maps targeted individuals, hunts them down even in places that are beyond the current reach of U.S. drones, and takes them out. Essentially, this creates a legal framework for targeted killings, which is part of a larger effort to set up a contingency plan for all future administrations to follow. But Obama has been creating legal frameworks around all sorts of illegal practices through his administration. Remember what he said on The Daily Show last week about wiretapping?
The strictures that he put in place that people might have thought were government overreach in that, and that maybe they had a mind that you would perhaps tone down, well, you haven't.
Well, you know, the truth is actually we have modified them and built a legal structure and safeguards in place that weren't there before on a whole range of issues.
A whole range of issues indeed. And you know what? He's right. This legal framework didn't exist, and for good reason. These policies have always been illegal. Human beings deserve due process. That's why we have a justice system. But this whole rebranding effort to label something as dark and sinister as a global assassination machine, as a mere disposition matrix, isn't too surprising when you consider Obama's entire presidency has rebranded its policies more times than the criminal entity formerly known as Blackwater has changed its name. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. The first thing Obama set out to do was distance himself from the Bush rhetoric of the global war on terror, which was smart on his part since the redundant phrase doesn't really make any sense. War is terror, terror is war. So the term overseas contingency operations took the spot. Sounds significantly more innocuous, right? But what really did change? Well, let's see what Biden had to say.
Is there still a global war on terror?
There is a war on terror. Terror is a legitimate threat. It is a threat that comes from Al-Qaeda and those organizations that have morphed off of Al-Qaeda, but there are other interests we have beyond merely, for example, the situation in the Middle East is not a global war on terror, but it matters to us mightily.
Other interests at play. Oh, we know, Biden. We know. This is all just a sly way to use propaganda to justify criminal activity to the American public. Just like what they did with extraordinary rendition, instead of calling it what it is, kidnapping and outsourcing torture. But we know that they don't even call it torture anymore. It's now downplayed as enhanced interrogations, as if prisoners are receiving some sort of service upgrade. And we can't forget the U.S. military engagement in Libya, which Obama referred to as kinetic military actions. See how easy it is to rebrand murder, lies, and torture? So, at the end of the day, our leaders don't lie to us about these policies. They just provide us with an alternate version of historical events. Hey, whatever makes you sleep at night.